Rick, okay, I've had the opportunity to have coffee with Bono, a conversation with Johnny Cash, sitting down for about an hour with Muhammad Ali. I would rather talk to you than any of those guys. I'm telling you, there's no one like the Nature Boy.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Rick,
I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
But Rick, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Rick, tell us a little bit about your background, because I'm sure some people don't know a little bit about where you grew up and so forth.
Okay, I grew up in Minneapolis. I'm adopted.
Okay.
And my mom and dad, my dad was a doctor. My mother was had a major in college and a master's degree in theater and English. She worked for the Minneapolis Star Tribune, and she went to work for the Sir Tyrone Guthrie Theater.
Really?
And they had the misfortune of having me. So at 15, I got in some trouble. Nothing major. Just it's one of those deals where the judge said you can either go to reform school, like bring your toothbrush next time I see you, or my parents, they recommended a private boarding school.
Yeah.
So the military school I talked my way out of, and they put me in a private school in Wisconsin, Beaver Dam, Wayland Academy.
And I know you were a star athlete,
That's
obviously.
where it all began. I was I was a star in a private school conference. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I mean, we competed against some public schools, but
Yes.
primarily a private school, which, I'm not nothing, there's a lot of excellent private schools.
That's right.
Athletics. But yeah, I did well in high school and everything was rolling until it was time to graduate, and they called me into the office of the Dean of Students and said, the good news is we really liked having you here. Bad news is you're not going to graduate, you're going to come back next year for another year. I went 13 years to high school. That started it all. So go ahead.
So there, Rick, just a quick, fast forward. You got into wrestling.
Well, I went from there. I got recruited by about, 14 schools in college.
Well, you weren't that bad.
Yeah, it was okay. But I mean,
Yeah.
I ended up wanting to go to Michigan, and they wouldn't accept me you had to be able to predict a certain grade point. They didn't think I would do that. So I ended up in Minnesota, and I joined a fraternity the second week I was there, and then there was no more school. So I stayed in a fraternity for 2 years, only went to school for 6 months. So I lived like a student.
And so, Rick.
And then the wrestling.
Right. So when you got into wrestling,
Yes.
how did you find your voice? Nature Boy, who influenced you when you were early on to develop this character?
Well, I was just telling Sting, who was here today.
Sting is here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, on the front row.
I was influenced by so many great guys when I first started, but that isn't where I really found the character of Nature Boy. That was, I was in a plane crash.
I remember that.
I started in '72.
Yes.
And I stayed in Minneapolis for a year, moved to Charlotte in '74, and I never looked back. I'm one of the few people that never had to move. I never left Charlotte for 44 years. From there, the plane crash, when I was recovering from the plane crash, a promoter suggested that I pattern myself a little bit after Buddy Rogers.
Yes.
Who was a great star of the 50s and 60s. So I took a little bit from Buddy, a lot from Dusty Rhodes, a guy named Thunderbolt Patterson.
Yes.
And then I just, I started chasing it. And once I felt that which actually I felt it from day one, but I just didn't know how to get to the next level. And once I had that lead, and everything just came natural.
Started just flowing. You know, Rick, you were one of the best communicators I've seen anywhere. If you watch his stuff on YouTube, this guy can connect with audiences like no one. And he's one of the few people, when he talks, you can feel it, you know? And that is a God-given gift. Rick, surely, because I know your nickname is what, One Take Nate?
One take.
Surely you've worked on that.
That's
Rick.
why I'm asking for more money for the rehearsal. We had I'm keeping track of all this.
Right. So did you have...
I don't need to rehearse, Vince. And I don't need to practice.
Okay. But Rick, have you worked? I know you're such a...
Hey, one of the reasons, I have to say, it's one of the reasons I like wrestling Sting so much. We never talk. You go play cards, and I did my thing, and then we see each other in the ring. That was it. That's the kind of opponent I like.
Yes.
Someone that wanted to micromanage.
You don't like that?
No.
Well, Rick, surely you've worked on speaking, though, over the years.
I do professional speaking now, but I never did. No, I just.
It's just yeah.
You know where I got my interviews from? Music.
No. Music.
Driving on the road at night, which we all did back in those days.
Yeah.
Listening to different music and, drinking beer, riding on the road, and then I would get little nooks and crannies from different musical things, and they'd give you thoughts, and then it's a God-given gift, and I've never taken that for granted.
It's amazing.
A lot of things for granted.
Rick, it's amazing too to watch your interviews. Sometimes you'll start off soft.
Yeah, well
then you'll ramp up, and the crowd will be going into an absolute frenzy.
I promise you, that's just me feeling them. I can tell when I like something. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, whether it's 200 people or a crowd like this, you can tell when you've got someone's attention. And
that's right.
When people are, when they're digging what you're saying.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, Rick, what is your greatest achievement? Looking back on your career, you're maybe the top 2 or 3 most popular wrestlers of all time. What would be the crowning achievement of your wrestling career?
The success of my daughter.
Woo!
That's easy.
Okay.
Because she's been through a lot. Boy, it's been.
She has, that's it.
Yeah. Number one, having to carry that curse of being a Flair, the last name, which you would think with that, people are under the impression, wow, she's Ric Flair's daughter, that's easy. It's not easy. It's not easy being anybody's daughter.
That's right.
Or family member in this business. If you were good at what you do, then automatically your peers think that you're getting favors.
Yes.
That they're looking at you like, you're getting this break because you're dabbing Ric Flair. That is not the way the business works. I could give you a lot of examples, but I'm not going to bring up people's names of people that have children in the business, but under a different name. And then that isn't the way it works. Our business is about your talent, your skill, and how much money you can make the company. And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that he's here today because it's one of my favorite questions when I asked about Steve Sting. He made a lot of money in the WCW, but God knows what he could have made if he went to the WWE.
Wow.
I mean, really, if you think about it, there never would have been any Ultimate Warrior. I mean, the Sting character, had he been able to take that with that name and his charisma and that, because he was just that good, but he was a much better performer.
Yes.
I'm not
right, I know.
putting anybody down, but he was a much better performer than the guys that he would have been competing against, in other words, for a position. And we had many conversations. I used to just go, but it's hard to leave. I mean, I had chances to go to. You find a level of comfort, the people you travel with, and we had a great bunch of guys at WCW, and up until management, did some things that caused problems for all of us. It was the greatest place. Under the Crockett regime, which ultimately failed economically, we had a phenomenal time. I met Steve under the Crockett regime.
Wow.
So,
Rick, what is looking back in your life, what would be your biggest disappointment? I just talked about your greatest victory. What would you say, man, this has been the toughest thing that I've ever gone through?
well, the death of my son would be the hardest thing. You talking about wrestling or my personal life?
Your life. And
The death of my son.
right. I cannot imagine going through that, Rick.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've been asked this 1,000 times, of course, probably more, but there are so many theories as to how you handle that and
Right.
what responsibility you take in it. And of course, because he was on my watch, you know, then I take the blame, and I will. He was with me, but none of the things that were symptomatic of problems, which this has been going on for 5 years, so
Yes.
it wasn't like we didn't know the MO, right? First the phone doesn't work, then you don't come home,
Wow.
you can't find them. I mean,
Mhm.
it's an unbelievable experience for anybody, any family to go through, and I can assure you that families that have experienced this, I bet if you look at it, the marriage doesn't last.
So true.
I knew of families prior to me that like kids had been lost in car accidents, and it caused huge division within the marriage. But I was already divorced from his mom, and it made it even tougher. He'd just come back from Japan, and you know, he wanted to stay with me. He was with his mom, and he kept calling me, "Please, Dad, don't get me," right? So he was with me, but that is the kind of thing you just, you know, we were so close. I took him everywhere, Japan, Europe. I mean, and he was a real good amateur wrestler. He loved to travel. He loved the guys.
Right.
I mean, he'd rather go to a match than anything. He loved. He told me when he was 16 years old, there was a famous wrestler from Texas named Blackjack Mulligan. You guys remember him?
I remember it.
So I came downstairs in our house, and I was trying to not scold him, but you know, give him some advice. He looked at me and said, "Dad, you and Blackjack are booking the territory in the morning." I mean, I'd look up and he'd take down one of his wrestling trophies and he'd put up a bottle of Jack Daniels. I mean, I'm laughing now because I look back on it, but I just couldn't get through to him.
Yeah.
Not that I was the one that should be getting through to him, but you know, we had so many good times that weren't based around alcohol.
Right.
I never did any drugs, so I don't know where he got hooked on that. But it was a downfall. But it had been a 5-year struggle, and going back to my daughter Ashley, it about killed her. They argued.
Because I know they were very close, even though they had some.
It's so close. They argued ongoing between the two of them, right? But in terms of at the end of the day, they were like this, and it was. To this day, it's hard on her. I mean, it's hard on all of us, but when she travels and she's lonely, I can tell when she's thinking about him. And it's a tough thing to go through.
Wow. Well, Rick, I appreciate your authenticity and your honesty. I mean, you talk about keeping it real, man. That's what I have to love about the nature boy. So, last question, Rick.
My life is open.
I know it is. I love it. Okay. Last question.
Just go to Wikipedia.
Last question. What's the worst injury you've ever sustained in the squared circle?
You know, it's hard to believe this. I have only been hurt in wrestling itself. I've torn both my rotator cuffs, which is minor compared to what some of the guys. But in 1989, I was in a tag match with, it was myself and Arn against Nikita Koloff and Dusty Rhodes in Raleigh. And I had done that flip where I run down the apron,
Yes.
jumped off the top, and Dusty punched me in the stomach coming off. Then he gave me a DDT, which is something he didn't do. And he landed on my neck, and I didn't know what it felt at the time. And the next day I was working out, and I was doing inclines, and I went back, and I had cracked C5 and 6 in my neck.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Wow.
I can understand, you know, and this is public consumption, I can understand why Kurt Angle was taking pain pills left and right, because neck pain is,
Oh, it is.
brutal. The rotators are terrible, but nothing
Neck.
like that. But the funny thing is, instead of having time off back then, they put me in a tag match every night.
Oh my God.
Like I would go in and be like Sting and the Road Warriors and Nikita against the Full Horsemen. I'd go over and chop Sting 3 times and run over and tag Arn in. But hey, I was there. No time off back then.
That's right. Well, listen, has it been great having the Nature Boy here? Let's show our appreciation to him. Ric, the Nature Boy.
That's all.
That's it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Nature Boy.
But I was saying on feet, well, I guess I got to be it. Some legends are told, sometimes the dust starts to go, but you will remember me. Remember me for centuries, and just one mistake is all it will take. We'll go down in history. Remember me for centuries. I can't stop till the whole world knows my name, 'cause I was only born inside my dream. Until you're not for me, as long as every time I share some with you, 'cause I am the opposite of that needs me. And you're a cherry blossom, you're about to bloom. You look so pretty, but you got so soon. Some legends are strong, sometimes the dust goes and goes, but you will remember me. Remember